So I'll start the class, let them join. The students one by one, they'll be joining. So students, in last class, we have seen the stat uh, in last class, we have seen presentation strategy. In presentation strategy, we have seen the introduction part. In introduction part, in last class, I told you, in your whole semester or in your MCA, we have conducted so many seminars. Now you are in fourth semester. So till fourth semester, we have conducted so many seminars, but you don't remember all the seminars. Some information, some seminars will be interesting for students, and some seminars, the person who is talking or the person who is delivering the talk, he may have some attractive nature, or he may have some good capability to explain the topic very well. So, or he may be using some of the techniques to make the students more understandable. So some of the catchy words will be there, catchy things will be there. By that you may understand that seminar, particular seminar. Some seminars maybe some talk you have heard in your school or in your graduation. Now also those words you will not forget. Yes, some memories will be there now. So why that memory will remain? Why we won't forget that? Because we like that. Some of the points in that will be there. So we maybe by those points we would have understood that point more easily. So there may be any reasons, but because the person may use a good plan or good strategy to make the students or to the listeners to understand more effectively or more easily. So because of some reasons we may not be able to forget that seminar. So lifelong we'll remember those some seminars, but it is but with all the seminars this is not the case. Only some seminars will be we don't forget throughout the life. What is the reason? What is the reason? Maybe you like those seminar very well, very much, or maybe the presenter has made the seminar very effectively, or very interesting, or very interactive. There will be any reason, a number of reasons. So that we have seen in the last class. Now we'll see the planning. So planning of the seminar. So the planning involves occasion. In the planning, uh, we are going to see occasion, purpose, audience, thesis, and material. What occasion? See, when we conduct a seminar, see what we do in the seminar. What we do in the seminar, if the seminar is given by student, or if the seminar is given by some expert, or if the seminar is given by the faculties who are handling your subject, whoever may be the person who gives a seminar, what they do, they deliver some talk, they give some information, correct? No, so they give some information in occasion. In here in occasion, what we'll see is, see, seminar means in occasion, uh, here they are concentrating on the topic, and they are concentrating on the place where we listen the seminar, or place where we present the seminar, place where we present the seminar. It may be classroom, it may be auditorium, or it may be a seminar hall. So wherever the venue is decided, wherever the venue is decided, there we are going to present the seminar. So here the few things we have to remember: the time limit. So once I start my class, suppose my class is at 10:50, 10:50 I have to start the class, or I have to start giving the seminar. So after 1 hour I have to complete, or if the time duration given for me is 1.5 or 2 hours, so I have to take only that much time. I should not cross my limit, or I should not cross my time limit. If I cross my time limit, what happens? It will disturb to others time limit, because in one day 6 to 7 hours, 3 to 4 theory classes will be there. For each subject, 1 hour or 2 hours will be allotted. For each subject, a particular specific hour will be allotted. If I cross my limit, if I cross my time limit, then what happens? It will affect to the next person who is going to take a class. Then even that person will extend the duration, how much duration I have utilized his or her uh, lecture hour. So that much time that person will also utilize next hour's class. So that is the reason why when we conduct a class, we have to stick on to the time limit. Or when we conduct a seminar, we have to stick on to the time limit. When we present a seminar, or any talk, so here environment is also very much important. The environment is also very much important. If I take a class or seminar either in a seminar hall or in a classroom, a proper seating arrangement should be there. Correct, no? A proper seating arrangement should be there. One seat this side, this corner, one seat other corner. No, it should not be like that. Properly, the seating arrangement should have been done, and the podium should be provided. If the podium is not provided, will it the yes, definitely the speaker will deliver the talk, but it is not so comfortable because he may be carrying or she may be carrying some of the notes or book. Then how to where to keep or attendance book only. If every day we carry attendance book along with some study material, if the environment is not providing a podium, then it will be difficult to hold. It is not so cooperative environment. Correct, no? If you are not providing a podium, then it is not a cooperative environment. And if I have a blackboard, and if I don't have chalk, see, these are all things you may feel silly, but these things we have to remember. These we have to we should not ignore these points when we deliver a talk. So when I come to class without taking attendance or without carrying chalk piece and duster, what happens? Again, I'll send my students to kindly go and get a duster and chalk piece from my cabin. Yes, we tell, no, many of the times maybe in a hurry we'll forget. So we'll request our students to get attendance register or get chalk piece and duster from our cabin. So when we deliver a talk, we have to keep all these things in mind, whether podium is there or not. If the podium is not there, whether they have provided any table to keep our attendance, chalk piece, dusters, study material, to keep all our materials, all our things, whether they have given any place or not. And for every for when we conduct a class, or when we conduct a seminar, a classroom, a venue will be decided before only. Yes, a venue will be decided before only. If here, if this 202 is for MCA 4th sem, then it should be only for MCA 4th semester only. For first hour class, if I take here, and second hour class, if I take in main block, then see, if it is well informed before, then okay, the students will not face any difficulty. If it is not informed before, then definitely the students will be in difficulty. They'll not be knowing whether where the class will be conducting. So that's why the venue should be freezed. The venue should be freezed before we start the class or before we start the seminar. If it is not freeze, if it is changed, then well in advance we have to inform to the listeners or students. Audience. Its purpose. What is the purpose of the seminar? What is the purpose of the seminar? The purpose of the seminar is to understand, to make the students understand that particular topic. And audience. What types of audience we'll face we'll see in the class? In yesterday's class, we have discussed about this. Yes, anybody can tell any point what type of audience? Yes, students. or with respect to audience, what are the points the presenter has to keep in mind? With respect to audience, what are the points the presenter has to keep in mind? Yes, in last class we have discussed, no? We should know the, any answer? The presenter should know the status of the listener. Last class I told, no? I gave that MS Word example. If the topic given to me is explain about MS Word, if I suddenly start with macros, if the listeners or if the audience doesn't know what is MS Word, if the listener doesn't know what is MS Word, then if I start with macros, then is it useful? No, it is not. It is not a good way of conducting seminar. First, the presenter has to understand the status or the how much knowledge the listener has about that particular topic. If they don't know anything about that topic, then from the beginning they have to start. From basic, they have to start. If all the students have basic knowledge about that particular topic, then you can start the topic with the advanced topic. If half of the students also doesn't know what is the basic thing, then the presenter has to start from the beginning. And in the audience, first the presenter has to understand what are their interest, and what are the likes and dislikes of the audience. See, here you can say audience or the listeners or the students, because a faculty is delivering a talk to students, or if you see generally, then a person is delivering talk to audience. Audience are nothing but listeners. So first we have to understand, the presenter has to understand the interest, like and dislikes of the listeners, and are they familiar with the topic? First we have to understand, are they familiar with the topic? They have any idea about the topic? Is their attitude is friendly? The attitude of the students or the attitude of the listener is friendly, or they are behaving arrogantly? We have to observe as a presenter. What is the size of the group? The audience are the, so means we should understand we should know the count of the listener, whether they are more in number, less in number, we should know. And the age range and the gender distribution. See, in last class I told that person name I am not able to remember. Dattatreya Vellal, he is a industry person. Many of the time we called him to deliver a technical talk in our MCA department. When he come for the talk, he will bring a chocolate box. Why he bring a chocolate box? That is his tactic or technique to attract the audience, or to keep the audience engaged. To keep the audience or to keep the listener engaged, that is his tactic. If he asks questions, if anybody answers correctly, then he will give a chocolate. If my friend get a chocolate, then even I will think that even I have to answer for the next question, and even I should get the chocolate. Yes, that is a mentality of the students. Now that is a mentality of listeners. That is a mentality of a human being. But if you deliver a same talk to aged person, then if you give a chocolate, then it may not be suitable. Some may like or some may not like. It may not be feasible for that age group person. So that's why we have to understand we should know what is the age group. And based on the age group only, we have to give some examples. We have to do, if we want to do some activity in your presentation, so based on that we have to do. So that's why we have to understand the We have to understand the capability of the audience. Thesis. See, thesis means what? Thesis is nothing but a report. When you do a project, you will submit the report, no? A same thing. Similarly, when you do seminar, for seminar also you will submit a thesis. That thesis is nothing but a report. That report contains the introduction part of your seminar topic, whatever the topic. If any student gives or if any faculty give a seminar on a particular topic, then they will provide a report. That report is nothing but a thesis. So the report will contain the introduction and detailed description of that particular topic, and advantages, disadvantages, real-time applications. If we put real-time application, it will be more helpful to the listener or to the audience, those who read your particular thesis or particular report. If you put a real-time example, it will be beneficial. And the material. See, material means here, in your advanced web program, you have Perl programs, no? Yes, you have, no? Perl programs. Students, you have Perl programs. Whether you have or not, Perl programs. Hello?
We have, ma'am.
You have Perl programs now?
Yes, ma'am.
You know the procedure to execute the Perl program? Is it same? Yes. Is the procedure simple or complex?
Complex, ma'am.
Complex. Compared to the other program, the procedure is simple. And Ruby on Rails, that program you have for your lab set? Ruby programs,
yes, ma'am.
you have?
Yes,
Even,
ma'am, we have.
I think even that procedure also a little complex only. Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So what here, material means if any for any program to execute a program. See, generally what happens when you when you type a program, C program, if you take example of C program, just if you save and compile and run, you will get the output. For some program, we have to follow certain steps or certain rules to execute a program. So what we do is, what the expertise or what the faculty or what the teacher will do is, they will execute the program. And they note down the steps, each and every step, and they will provide as a material to the students. Yes, I think even Bhushan sir also, he has also done the same thing. If the procedure is complex, to execute any program, then what the faculty will do, they will record the steps. And that step they will material they will give to the students. So that also you can say as a material. So next we have outlining. See, students, you understood, no, how we plan occasion, purpose, audience, thesis and material. Okay, next we have outlining and structuring. What is outlining and structuring? Any general answer? Any answer?
We can create greetings, borders.
No, not that. Not that outline. Here the outline means, see here we are talking about the presentation. With respect to presentation, outline, agenda. Some students will use content, some students will use outline, some students will use agenda. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct, no? So what is the meaning of outline? The content page. The topics you list out which you are going to explain in your presentation. Like index. Correct, no? Like index you prepare.
Yes, ma'am.
So there what we write is first introduction, then
Contents.
introduction, content, and real time examples if you want to give. So in the content page or in the outline, whatever we do, whatever we write, the same sequence we have to follow in our document also. Yes? Wait once, I'll show you one example. Okay. You can see the screen, students. You can see this Word document.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. See, this is the outlining and structuring of a 6-semester project. Is it clear? You can see clearly? Is the Word document is clear, or shall I increase the size? Now you can see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is the outlining and structuring of the 6-semester project. Here, see here the contents, introduction, the introduction part contains the project description and the company profile. See, when you go to the description, when you go to inside the, when you go to the next page, see here the page number is also given. See, this is just a format, that's why they have given the page number 00. If the page number, if the project description is at page number 1, page number 2, then if you go to page number 2, then we have to get the project description. Here, see, in 6th semester, the university has given the clear instruction how many page the project description should have, how many page the color company profile should be. See, project description 2 to 4 pages, company profile 1 page, 2 page, or 3, maximum of 3 pages. Existing and proposed system in literature survey, existing and proposed system, that is 2 to 3 pages. See, this is a structuring, properly they have structured. See, this is why I have taken this example is this introduction, literature survey, software, hardware and software requirement, this is the outlining. And how they have structured each topic, how many pages we have to write. Properly they have structured. That's why I have taken this example. See, outlining and structuring. In outlining and structuring, how, in which format or in which sequence we have given the content, the same thing we have to follow in our document also. First, the introduction. In introduction, project description, company profile, literature survey, existing and proposed system. See, for everything they have given the page numbers also. Page number means how many pages the content should be added. Use case and sequence, say detailed design, in detailed design, use case and sequence diagram, collaboration activity, data, database designs, everything along with the number of pages, how many pages we have to put a content. See, this is properly outlined and structured document. And here, outlining and structuring, introduction. In introduction, what we write? In introduction, about introduction of a project or introduction of a topic on which we have delivered a talk. Here, sample introduction they have given in the book. So I'll read out, you listen carefully. Sample introduction. Good morning, friends. Good morning, friends, and wish you all a happy World Environment Day. Means here that person is giving a talk or giving the seminar on Environment Day. So before he starting the seminar or before he starting his talk, he is introducing himself and introducing about the occasion So good morning, friends, and wish you all a happy World Environment. The greeting refers to the day. The day is a Environment Day. Before starting my presentation, let me ask you few questions. See, this is a way we start the presentation. This is a way. See, if you in our regular classes also, before we start a class, first we give some introduction about the topic. Yes, no? First we give some introduction about that. Introduction will not be given in your syllabus. See, today also, and in yesterday, in last class also, I started my class with some introduction. I asked you when you attend till now you have attended so many seminars. So out of those seminars, some of the seminars you don't forget throughout your life. See that all those points they'll not give in the book. Correct, no? So we will start the topic with some introduction. So with some general introduction. So first they will give the introduction and greeting. Greeting means what? Wishing each other. Greeting is nothing but when we give greeting. When your friend have birthday or New Year, so you wish each other, no? Yes, students, you wish each other on New Year. You wish each other. So that is greeting. So in your daily life also, daily routine life, when you come to college, you will wave to your friends. So that is also one type of greeting each other. So in a seminar or in a talk, when we deliver a talk, first we greet each other. The faculty or the presenter will come and say that good morning, students, or good morning, listeners, or good morning, audience. So first they will greet each other in and attention grabber. How we grab the attention? How we grab the attention? How we grab the attention? Any answer? Yes, I gave Dattatreya Vellal sir example. How he grabs the attention? By giving chocolates. He asks questions. He asks questions. He asks questions. If anybody gives the answer, then in return he gives a chocolate. That is his way of grabbing attention of the listener. Or some people, they tell some jokes. They tell some jokes so that they keep the listeners attentive in the class. Or some people, they show some animated videos. They show some animated videos in their presentation to grab the attention of the listeners. To grab the attention of the listeners. Topic and thesis statement. So the topic which we deliver in the talk, and the title in the thesis should be same. See, for your seminar topic, you submit the report now. If the topic is online shopping, and if the report or the thesis is offline shopping, the thesis is on offline shopping, will it match? No. because the topic I have given is online shopping and I have to submit the report also same on about online shopping. Then it means if you are submitting thesis or if you are submitting the report offline shopping, then clearly we'll understand that you have not prepared for the seminar. You are not prepared for the seminar. So both should be same. Credibility. Any idea what is credibility? See, credibility is nothing but the trust. Credibility is nothing but trust. When you deliver a talk, when you deliver, see here, whatever I deliver in my class or whatever I explain in my class, my students will believe that madam, whatever madam is explaining, that is according to syllabus only she is teaching. Yes, you'll think no. Yes, students, please respond.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll think, you'll trust me that whatever madam is explaining or whatever the topic she is covering, it is based on our syllabus. Blindly you will believe. Yes, you trust your faculties, no? You trust your faculties, but even as a presenter also we should also do our work properly. Simply see, on this presentation only, this whatever the topic I'm explaining now, if you Google n number of PPTs, you will get n number of PPTs you will get, but it may be not according to the syllabus. Correct, no? Generally, so many topics, so many PPTs you will get, but whatever the talk or whatever the lecture we deliver in the class, it should be according to the syllabus. In the first module also I told, listening. When you submitted the listening, when you submitted the first assignment, then most of the students have submitted the general answers. That's why I told, when you Google a particular topic, you'll get n number of answers. You'll get n number of answers, but you have to collect which is suitable for your syllabus. So similarly, when I present a talk or when I deliver a lecture on a topic to my students, I have to, my students trust me. So whatever I'm explaining, they assume that according to the syllabus only I am explaining. So I have to do my job properly. Generally, some topics I should not explain. According to the syllabus only, I have to explain. Preview. See, when I am explaining this topic, suppose if I reach to transition, a time may get over, and next topic is nuisance of delivery. Then if time permit, if I get 1 or 2 minutes time, then I have to give some brief description on the next topic also. I have to give some description on the next topic also. I have to give some preview about the next topic. I have to give some preview about the next topic. Or if I complete fourth module today, next is a fifth module. To my students, I have to introduce about fifth module. Students, today I have completed fourth module. Next I have fifth module. In fifth module, we are going to study so and so topics. Like that, I have to give some preview information about the topic in my seminar or in my class. Rules for question and answer session. So for question and answer session, there will be some rules. So some people will be like, not all, some people, they don't like interrupting in the class or when they talk. But some people, they tell, whenever you get doubt, you can interrupt me anytime. Yes, like two kinds of people will be there, no? Some, they don't like interrupting anybody in their talk. Some people will they only tell that whatever doubt you are getting, you can stop me anytime and you can ask me questions. Yes. So if the some people what they tell that in the beginning of the seminar only or in the beginning of the class only they'll tell first listen whatever I am going to explain. At the end, we'll give some 5 or 10 minutes time for question and answers only. Like that, in the beginning only they'll tell. And some what they tell, anytime you can stop me and you can ask any questions. So like this, the rules should be given to the students in the beginning of the seminar only. Transition. What is transition? Hmm? What is transition? You have to answer. You have to tell. Yes, students, please respond. Transition. Hmm. Transition. See, transition is nothing but changing from this topic to the next topic, or changing from this slide to next slide. So here, see, generally how we do. So when I am explaining this outlining and structuring, and if this is the last point, transition is the last point, then what we tell is, yes, this is all about. So generally, how we conclude. So yes, students, this is all about outlining and structuring of the seminar topic or any topic which we explain in the seminar or in the class. So next we are going to see. So I'm telling no. I'm telling next we are going to see the next topic. Yes, you're understanding. You're understanding the meaning of transition. It is give to the listeners. It is like to the listeners giving the instruction that we have done with this topic or we have done with this slide, and next we are going to the next slide. Yes, we are giving the instructions. We are giving the instructions. And next we have nuisance of delivery. So here, modes of delivery. First we'll see modes of delivery. What is the mode of delivery? See here, what is, see, listen students, here now I'm taking class. I'm taking class. What is the mode of delivery here? Yes, please respond. What is the mode of delivery here? Any answer? Are you there, Surya, Ashwini? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
What is mode of delivery here in my class?
Oral.
You know what is mode of delivery? Modes of delivery. See, students, modes of delivery is nothing but by which we are going to deliver a talk or we are going to deliver a topic. It may be Blackboard. Yes, using Blackboard also we deliver a talk. Using Blackboard also we deliver a talk. Using PPT also we deliver a talk. Yes. So here the mode of delivery is PPT. No, I'm using PPT. Yes, you can see the PPT. The mode of delivery is PPT, presentation, PowerPoint presentation I'm using. Yes, please respond. Your understanding. Your understanding or not? Respond. You're listening. You're able to listen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Is here in my class, what is the mode of delivery? See, the mode of delivery means by which we deliver a talk or by using which medium. We may use Blackboard to deliver a talk. We may use OHP presentation to deliver a talk, or we may also use PowerPoint or PPT to deliver a talk. Here today now I'm using a mode that is PowerPoint presentation to deliver a talk or to deliver my lecture. Here the mode of delivery is PowerPoint. Yes, students. Yes, in last class, I gave you one example. I edited the slides. In the beginning, the slide was with black font color and white background. And later I have changed background also blue and even the font color also blue. So it was you were able to see, but it was not that much clear with these types of background. See here now the background is white and the font color is black. Compared to this, is it see which was better? The previous theme was better or this theme is better? So this is ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಒಂಥರ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಹೊಡಿ ಚುಚ್ಚುತ್ತೆ we say no, it is like that, no? But the previous one, it is better compared to compared to just now I changed the background with red. Compared to the red background, this is better. See, when whatever the modes you are using in the delivery of a talk, you have to use properly. If you are using Blackboard only, if you are using Blackboard, on Blackboard, you have to use a white chalks. You have to use white color chalk. If you use pink color chalk or if you use blue color chalk, then it is not that much clear compared to white chalk. See, all these things we have to keep in mind when we deliver a lecture or when we deliver a talk. Students, you are understanding? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not getting any answers. Okay. Manuscripts. What is manuscript? Any answer? Manuscripts. Manuscript is nothing but a material, study material. When I give you some topic and when I tell you to give a presentation on that topic, then what you do, directly you don't prepare a presentation. You don't prepare a PPT. First, you will prepare a manuscript, like a blueprint. First, you will prepare a manuscript for that particular topic, and for that, what you have to do, you have to study that particular topic. After studying or after reading that particular topic, you will prepare a manuscript. So based on the manuscript, you will prepare a PPT. So that manuscript is very much important while preparing a PPT. It is like a blueprint. It is like a blueprint of the PPT. Memorization. What is memorization mode? What is memorization mode? See, today I have explained these topics: planning, outlining and structuring, and some of the delivery modes. In my next class, what I do, I'll ask my students, give some of the points or in outlining and structuring, what all we have seen in the last class. Yes, I'll check the memory of my students, no? Yes, students? I'll check, no? So this process is nothing but memorization mode. So it has some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are it is very much easy for speakers to maintain a eye-to-eye contact. When I ask questions, then I'll see to each student's face, no, who will answer. Or I may ask a particular students. When I ask a particular student, then I'll choose a student. Then to each students, I'll do a eye-to-eye contact. The speaker can easily move and make use of appropriate non-verbal communication and add extra value to the speech. It is possible to finish the speech in a allotted time. Sir, idu ille ittirla. So these are all the advantages, and the disadvantages are memorization requires too much of time. See, in everyday class, 1 or 2 minutes I can spend on this. If I spend 5 to 10 minutes time on this memorization mode, then my time will be wasted. So memorization requires too much time. There are chances of making it a dull and there are chances of making it a dull presentation because we go exactly by whatever we have memorized. Yes. This has some disadvantage also. If my students answer quickly, or if all students answer, then I feel I'll be happy. Yes, whatever the topic I covered in my last class, all understood and all are able to answer well. If nobody answers, then what I feel, whatever I explained, nobody understood, or nobody concentrated, or nobody listened. Yes, the situation, it may lead to the dull situation. If I don't ask any questions only, then I don't think all this. Correct, Alva? Then asking questions is good or bad? Hey, students, ಹೇಳಿ questions ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾ ಕೇಳಬಾರ್ದಾ? Please respond.
ಕೇಳಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾ? ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದ ಅರ್ಥನೇ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅಂತ. ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay. So remaining points I'll do in the next class. See, students, your understanding, no? See, these are all
Yes, ma'am.
these are all very simple topics. Your understanding.